One, MetLife Stadium Drive, one of the two NFL stadiums shared by two teams. But we're not here to talk about that or that team across the hall. Keith Ippolito and John Rad are only here to talk about the true football giants. We talk Giants football and wherever else the conversation may take us. So deal with it. This is the Shared Stadium Podcast.
You know, I'm not a big fan of making things all about me, but tonight I'm going to. Are y'all ready to join me? Are y'all ready to side with me? Because it's over. We lose in the worst way possible. And we're going to talk about dumb comments that are out there. Welcome into the Shared Stadium Podcast. I'm John Rad, along with my teammate Keith Ippolito. We are here to talk about all things New York football giants. And frankly, it's not good. But before we get all of that, Ips, what's happening, brother?
Doing good, man. Life is good. I mean, even being a Giants fan, but yeah, I mean, the Giants continue to lose in ways that I weren't think quite possible. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, that 7 field goals. I mean, my God, man, that's almost like the Falcons-Steelers game with the 5 field goals they had.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but let's start with the Giants. They lost in the worst form, worst way possible. They lost without the other team even scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, I know.
How? And I told you this. We were texting back and forth about it. So now I'm going to put you on the hot seat a little bit as soon as I adjust my camera here because it's going to mirror. I'm going to put you on the hot seat. We're going to get to the quarterback. But I said it might be time. Dable and some other people, we might need to get them. We'll cover the first toll. Y'all take care of the rest out of the city. Because when you knew your kicker had a sore hamstring, you only travel 52. It's a 53-man roster. And you didn't call anybody up. And so you expected the punter to be able to do it. And you can't throw the headset down and be upset at anybody but yourself because you should have put in some fight for it because we went and found Danny DeVito off the couch and we able to pull a quarterback out of nowhere. You should have done the same thing for a kicker.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, it's infuriating. It's a head scratcher, especially when they had someone who's available that they could have easily added to the 53-man roster. And, I'm not going to go... it's infuriating, but I'm not going to go as hard on it. But the only thing I'll say this is that, he was cleared, by the medical staff, obviously by, Dave's, Shane, and I'm sure Gano obviously gave the all clear, but still, I just don't understand. Knowing that is a possibility, I mean, it kind of was a freak play, but why not carry the extra one? Because you kind of think about it. I mean, it was the difference in the Commanders game. I mean, you missed the first PAT. They went for two extra or 2-point tries and missed both of those. I mean, honestly, that's kind of the difference of the game. If you really think about it.
And the problem, here's the concern that I have. You knew Gano had, let's face it, a kicker only needs one weapon, his leg.
Yeah.
So this isn't like offensive lineman who said he might have a bicep strain, or the quarterback who said his shoulder might be a little tight, or the wide receiver who said his back might be a little bit sore. Let me give it a go. If the kicker says his leg,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're kicking the ball, or it's not like you're punching the ball with your hand or throwing it or anything. It's like you got one job and you can't use your feet. You're kind of shit out of luck.
Sorry, don't need you this week. Let me, it's like the quarterback. Well, the quarterback broke his throwing hand. Okay, well, then I don't need him because that's the one tool he really needs is that throwing hand. So I kind of don't need him right now. So that's a total mismanagement there. But your boy.
What? Why is he my boy?
Yeah, boy, because you done stuck up for Danny Dimebag, and now everybody's, oh, he's got a new haircut. Okay, in biblical terms, Samson was better with hair.
Oh my God! Did John just got biblical on us, and we're
Biblical
not even
terms.
5 minutes into this thing? Holy mackerel!
A haircut doesn't help, it hurts. So don't go cut hair, grow more. It's biblical here, baby. I mean, but anyway, here's my concern. I'm going to jump right to it. Here's my concern. Malik Neighbors, I have two. We'll start with the first one.
Okay.
I'm concerned because on the offense, excuse me, there's no true veteran presence. And here we have a young wide receiver that's going hard on himself, which I like. But I want somebody that's going to be there and grab him and say, young fella, it's okay. Calm down. So he doesn't get down on himself this early in his career, because it's not all his fault.
No, like, when we were, sending topics for this show, I mean, honestly, my initial reaction after he dropped that ball was I felt bad for him, because on the Giants offense, the reason we lost against the Commanders is on the defense. But
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
he had, 18 targets, and I mean, of course it was the one play that, probably would have iced the game or whatever, but I was like, it was him and Singletary basically the entire game, which is a little concerning. I'm sure that Dable will probably, hopefully try and spread the ball out a little bit against the Browns this coming Sunday. But that was honestly my initial reaction. Is it was like I felt bad for him, because he looked incredible all day. His touchdown catch was great. Just again, I'm not saying he's Odell Beckham yet, but I mean, he's looking pretty damn close already, 2 games into his NFL career. And then you go and hear, you hear his post-game conference, like you just were alluded to a second ago. It's like, he's 2 games into the league, and he sounds like a veteran. He's asking him about his, how good a game he played or whatever. He's like, it doesn't matter, man. I dropped the ball and I wasn't there for my team. So honestly, I love this kid, man. And I'm very excited that we have him on the team. And, even Dimebags, I'm not going to say he played great against the Commanders, but he didn't do anything to lose us the game. And if he could do that all season, then, we'll be a serviceable team. I'm not saying that's probably going to happen, but I mean, you can see that there is talent around this team now, and the offensive line too. I thought the offensive line looked solid. I guess from the Vikings game, anything looks better. So you got to start from the bottom. It can only get better, right, John?
The offensive line, I'm not going to be overly critical on, but I am going to be tough on, because things should start coming together for them by now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a part that they're going to play a pivotal part in this game. The game coming up, but this previous game against the Commanders, they played a big part, and they didn't exactly. They were bend, not break.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they were more. Wish I would have seen more push, more oomph, more chaos out of them.
Yeah,
I feel a little bit better. I still haven't seen that chaos level, that level where linemen are just pushing people out of the way, and they weren't having their way with it. And I don't like that. The defense, look, I understand the argument people will say, Giants fans that is, but they didn't give up a touchdown. The game wasn't the Commanders to lose. They were still in the game by kicking field goals. So I'm pretty sure Dan Quinn realized we don't have to score a touchdown. We just got to get back in the field goal range, which they kept doing and kept doing and kept doing. So I think that's the concern of mine was you couldn't keep them out of field goal range. Then what are you going to do when you go up against some of these high-powered offenses? Because what do you have coming up? Cleveland, I'm not going to say Cleveland's going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be a real test with that defensive line that they have.
Of course.
And I think Deshaun Watson's going to have a much better game than what we've seen. On top of that, you're in Cleveland, so you're at the dog pound.
Yeah.
But a concern of mine, realistically, we could make it almost to week 9 without a win.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, yeah, I mean, God, I would hate to have a football season like that again because I feel like that's basically all we had for the last decade or whatever. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's just super disheartening.
I'm
But
sorry to be the Debbie Downer tonight, but I mean, and just to give you some clarity on it, just so I don't know if you have the schedule in front of you. I just want to be fair about this. Obviously, we have the Browns coming up, the Dallas Cowboys who are starting to make some noise, the Seattle Seahawks, once again another team making some noise, Cincinnati Bengals, Philadelphia Eagles, Pittsburgh Steelers, and then we're back at the Commanders again. That's to me on paper. That's our best opportunity to win a game, and that's at week 9.
Yeah. I mean, here's two teams that stand out to me that I could see. I guess you can say the quote unquote or proverbial upsets, Dallas and Philly, because I just, I think they're a little overrated, especially, and we'll get into this like the Falcons and the Eagles game.
Look, you see the eyebrow?
Nick Sirianni. What are you doing, Nick Sirianni? Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off because you said something that I was taken a little aback by the Ips. Eagles overrated.
Yeah, I do. Or not that they don't have talent. I think their coach is a moron. Personally, that's just me, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Giants fan and I can't stand him, but I mean, he barely made it out of last season. I listened to a little bit of Philly radio, a former colleague of ours, and they're more than ready to be done with him. First of all, man, why in the hell are you throwing the ball in that situation to Saquon? I know that's a high percentage play, but why wouldn't you just dump the ball off and run the ball to him and run off another 40 seconds? I mean. And that's not the only stuff, I just don't, I think he's overrated as a head coach. That's just me personally.
I think he has a talented team. I think Philadelphia is a team that they need to stop smelling themselves too much. You're still hanging on to that Super Bowl championship. That's what, 3 years ago?
Yes. Yeah. About 3 years. Yeah, that sounds right.
And so, and even I know Philly fans will say, "Oh, when was the last time you made it to the Super Bowl? We made it to the Super Bowl. Get us a cheesesteak." But you're hanging on too much for that. So don't sit there and look at this team and you're already ready to disassemble it because you have one of the most talented teams in the NFL. Let's not forget that. And I get dumb decision moves, 100%. But also, you're ready to run the guy out of town that got you to the Super Bowl, the thing that did you in. And here's the part that buckle up because no one's going to like it. Your quarterback hasn't gotten better. Your quarterback has been the exact same quarterback for about 3 years. And even with all those targets and all those weapons, the best thing that's gotten about him is the running back puts his hand on his butt and pushes him. That's the best thing you've had.
Well, now that we're on to this, I was going to save this for later in the pod, but I'm sure I wasn't the only one who was annoyed by Kelsey in that basically that, end of third quarter and majority of that fourth quarter of him just loving and man-crushing hardcore on the Philadelphia Eagles and the offensive line and their center. I was actually kind of a little disappointed in Buck and Aikman that they kind of let him do that because I normally like them as broadcasters. Like, especially I remember with the whole Taylor Swift stuff. They're like, we're not going down. This is a football broadcast. So I don't know. I mean, I know Kelsey came out and kind of apologized. Not that I really think it matters or whatever, but I was like, unless you're an Eagles fan, majority of the people are like, I don't want to hear this crap.
I mean, I don't care because from that standpoint, who did he play for his entire career? Who's going to put him in the Ring of Honor? Who's going to love on him no matter what? So I'm not mad about that. And here's the other reason why I'm not mad about that. Because I'll give you the other side of that coin. He didn't tiki barber. Ooh. As a hush falls over the big blue nation, he didn't Tiki barber him. He loved on his team. Tiki, like, let's not like.
Yeah, Tiki definitely. He was very bitter after that. He was very bitter for a while.
And that's why I say let's not get too crazy on him. He spent his entire career there. If you wanted, because at the same time, Michael Strahan has loved on us on national TV for years.
Yeah, of course.
I know, you'll say, Big John, you're a Giants fan. Yes, I am, but I'm also fair. I got to be objective about that. I expect players, and I like players who are going to love on the team that they spent their entire career with. If you're a journeyman, if you would have told me this was Deshaun Jackson, all right, I get you played for just about every team in the NFL.
Yeah.
But
I mean, hearing breakdown and stuff. I mean, yeah, sure, that I'll give you that. That was entertaining. I mean, probably one of the definitely top 5, if not top 3 centers who's played the game all time. So I mean, he's just like a whole other different animal or whatever. But I mean, yeah, I guess if you're not a Philly fan, it's like, all right, dude, come on. Like, I kind of wish Buck or Aikman just would have turned it around and made it more, I guess, a little more neutral on the national broadcast, I guess.
Well, I mean, what do you want from Aikman? Like, I think we got to stop expecting Aikman to be more than what he is. He's nice. He's fun. It's cool. It's cute. But at the same time, Aikman is the exact same thing. And to be perfectly honest with you, I kind of enjoy Brady a little bit more than I enjoy Aikman.
Really? Because obviously, I don't think. I mean, his first broadcast was struggle bus, my friend. I mean, I'm not saying it can't get better, but you can tell that he definitely was nervous, and he didn't, something that you could tell it's something that he's never done before. Again, not saying that he can't learn the skill, but you can tell there is going to be some growing pains.
But you got to be fair. And Ips, this just as well as I do. Everybody wants to play radio until the light turns on.
Yes.
And the light cut on him. And I think it was more than what he expected. Because I think he just thought it was going to be like watching film.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his second game, he came along. He got a little bit better. You can hear the confidence in his voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what... Because here's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
When I listen to Tom Brady, I hear someone who is sounding like they're trying to have a conversation during the game. When I was listening, and I'll tell you exactly who I listened to, Tony Romo.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Romo sounds like he's trying to make the game more exciting than what it is.
Yeah,
hey, Jim, they got the ball, Jim. Jim, they're running the ball. Jim. If you played the drinking game, every time he said Jim, we would shut down hospitals.
I know. Yeah, I know. Tony Romo, he just likes to over-exaggerate, the most, it could be the most routine football play, and he's like, Jim. Yeah, he's, I'm not a fan of him. But, and the other thing, I guess, for Brady, too, as you know, I mean, when you're in a live broadcast and, it's something you never done before, and you got a producer yelling in your ear, hit this read, or do this, do that, or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, he's probably not used to that, and he's got to figure that out. But, I mean, I sure hope so for Fox, because they paid him a hell of a lot of money. What was it, $300 million or something?
I think the guy's going to figure it out. I think he's going...
I wouldn't be surprised if he does, yeah.
And I think we're going to look around, and at the end of the day, everybody's going to look up and say, okay, and I could be way wrong about it, but I think he's going to be a different sound. I think here's the thing you don't do. You don't oversaturate us with him. He doesn't need to be at the Super Bowl. He doesn't need to be every playoff game. Like, once it's done for the season, all right, take the season off, get better, do it again. But back to the Giants. I'm sorry, back to the New York Giants. Yeah. Because we're getting lost down the rabbit hole here. You said the Eagles would be an upset and the Eagles are overrated. I say the Eagles are rated because there's no one in the NFC East that can beat them.
Yeah, maybe overrated is the wrong word, but I think if there was a game in there, like, I look at the schedule like, okay, yeah, I don't see us beating the Bengals. Seattle, I could possibly see.
The only reason I argue that one because it's at Seattle.
No, that's a very hard place to play. I'm not disagreeing with you on that at all. Absolutely not. Yeah, even being at home against the Bengals, I don't expect us to win that game at all. But I think solely because I think Dallas and Philadelphia just are trying to, and especially Philadelphia, man, that loss to the Falcons, that's a brutal loss. Like that could change a whole, I guess, like outlook, and, for that could start a spiral for that team. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying that, like, if you go back and look at a season where it all went wrong, that could be it, because that was a brutal loss.
The only reason I argue that team has a bunch of players that have been together for a long time. That team has a group of players that they're not working on cohesion. At this point in time, they're getting in each other's face. And here's to bring it back to the Giants and Malik Neighbors. Who's going to Malik Neighbors saying, hey, bud, it's okay? And who's getting in somebody's face saying, hey, do your job. I don't care. Catch the ball. Win. Get your block. Do this. I don't know who that is on this team yet. And let me tell you who I know it's not. And if you want to argue it, you can give us a call, 404-231-1680.
Oh, my God. I knew you were going to do that. I just knew you were.
If you give us a call, 404-231-1680, you can call us. But here's who I can tell you it's not. It's not Daniel Jones. Because right now, everybody's looking at Daniel Jones saying, so let me get this straight. You got rid of the running back that we liked, that was moderately healthy and useful, and you're paying the quarterback that hasn't proven it yet?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, I definitely see your point. Yeah, God. I mean, I just kind of look at this team, and, I'm not saying that we're going to go win a Super Bowl, or even I don't even expect us to obviously make a playoffs at all now, but just because we've been so down, I'm trying to be mildly positive or optimistic, or whatever word you want to use, and I can see a little bit a crack of a light. I can see things that we're heading in the right direction. It's just so many freak things, man. Like, I mean, so the Vikings game, that was inexcusable. I mean, that was just a complete dumpster fire. But I feel like this Commanders game, it was kind of like basically giant football that we have watched forever. And they just find the most bizarre ways possible to lose games. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's so freaking frustrating. It's like, because you look forward to this time of year, football season, and then you get a month to the season, and your football season's already over. I mean, of course you're a fan, you're going to watch the games, but it's like,
are we?
It's like, what's the point? It's like,
are we?
What are we playing for? A draft pick already 3 weeks in?
Are we going to watch it? Number one, once again, I hate to make it all about me. Let's pull up his stats real quick. Daniel Jones, he has gone 16 of 28, 2 of 22 in 2 games.
Yeah.
Right now, he has a completion rating of 54.3%. He's thrown 2 touchdowns, which was just in the last game, and he has a QBR of 40.4.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised, but I mean, I would say that majority of those numbers are, from that Vikings game, because just objectively, I know probably nobody wants to hear me say this, but he wasn't the reason why we lost versus the Commanders, and he played well enough to not lose the game, is what I'm saying. And I don't want it to sound like I'm defending him, but I mean, I'm not. I'm just calling a spade, man.
That's your boy. Look, he's thrown just as many touchdowns as he has interceptions, and you're right. It is all of one game. But here's what I have to go to say with that too. I said it would be week 5 before we would see either Tommy DeVito or Drew Lock. That could be at the end of this week.
I mean, honestly, put it this way, yeah. I mean, if he has a clunker against the Browns, and again, I know this is in Cleveland.
Cowboys.
Yeah, I honestly, if you know, because it's a 1:00 game, if by 4:00 me and you are texting and you know, and we just see a complete dumpster fire like we saw against the Vikings, I'm just like, I've had enough. I can't watch this shit anymore, man. Yep. I can't.
And I will say this, because like I said, there's a possibility we could be at week 9 before we have the opportunity to look for our first win. If we are at week 9,
God almighty,
and we haven't called Ryan Tannehill, Cam Newton,
here,
Hudson
right?
Mason.
Why Hudson Mason? Wow. First of all, why would Ryan Tannehill come to our team? Because everything I read from him is being selective, and you just dropped a Buck Bellew in there too.
I don't want the Danny DeVito experiment again. Like, we saw what it was. And let's not sit here and pretend like this is Gardner Minshew who got us to a playoff game. This isn't Gardner Minshew. Danny DeVito's not that good of a quarterback. Stop it.
No, he's definitely not. He's barely a third string quarterback. He might be good enough to be a bench player sometime. Of course not. He's not a starter anywhere. I mean, it was a feel-good story last year just because he was a local kid. But I mean,
then let's go find another local kid.
Yeah, that narrative is played out as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Danny DeVito should only Danny DeVito. Thinking of the Penguin, just because I think I'm gonna watch that show after we do this podcast.
I'm gonna watch
John.
that show this season instead of the Giants if I gotta see Danny DeVito on the field.
It's a true story. No, but I would only want to see Tommy Cutlets out on the field unless as Locke is just injured or whatever. I mean, but then again, I mean, if Locke is stinking it up too, then who the hell cares at this point? Just put anybody in there at that point because you're just playing for a draft pick at that point, and one or a spot, and take your pick on a quarterback or whatever. I hear you have some things about the quarterback, about some people wanting to make a trade, John, for a quarterback in the league.
Well, yeah, because people are saying stupid stuff.
Yeah,
the Carolina Panthers.
Are they on your social?
Who, the Carolina Panthers?
No. These stupid people.
Probably. Yeah. I got a lot of stupid people on my social. Carolina Panthers. They're stinking it up. Sad. The only other team that's worse than us is the Carolina Panthers. And they have benched their starting quarterback, Bryce Young. He will now be riding the pine. And now people are saying the Giants should trade for Bryce Young. Okay.
Yeah, for what?
Okay.
No.
Listen, people in the back, come in close. Let's get everybody together. If they're worse than us, if you haven't watched their games, he looked like a Pop Warner quarterback out there running around in circles, lost, like he had no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
So why, pray tell, would you? And on top of all of that, and I had to explain this to a gentleman, Carolina is probably the best place for him to be right now, because you trade for him and bring him to New York. You guys think what I'm saying is harsh?
Oh my God! It's just going to be. Yeah, it's going to be 10. It's going to be 100-fold. You kidding me? He's in a
perfect spot.
Yeah, he's in a perfect spot. He's in a media. I mean, let's be honest. Charlotte is not not compared to a New York City or a major media market like that. So he's not sure he's getting heat, but he's not going to be getting it like if he was in a New York, Chicago, a Boston, someone like that, or Philly. I mean, that would just ruin him. I think that would be terrible for us and terrible for his career.
The kid would end up in the XFL. He would leave mid-season and go to UXFL or whatever it's called. It's not. He's in the only other market that I could say he would probably do better in is Arizona. Like,
Yeah.
go somewhere to a small market where he can hide. That's the best place for him right now. And what he needs a coach that's going, and the prime example of why you need that. Look at it, and I know it's a small sample size. Look at Sam Darnold. Look what
Oh
he's
yeah.
doing out in
Yeah.
Minnesota now. Keep in mind, this is the same Sam Darnold that was just with the Jets, and now he's looking like it's either Minnesota's really good because look how they revived Kirk Cousins, and now
Yeah.
they're trying to revive Sam Darnold. Maybe that's where Daniel Jones goes, and maybe he just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of seems to be the landing spot for a lot of these guys. I mean, yeah, he looks, Darnold looks like he's, kind of found it a little bit. I mean, yeah, because his tenure with the Jets was just, it was brutal to
But
say.
if you
But yeah, I
watched,
mean,
if you watched him in college, it wasn't him. It was the Jets. It was that team. They did nothing to coach him up. If you watched him in college play, his size, his stats, his arm, his decision making was all there.
He also he went through 2 head coaches. He went through Adam Gase, and he went through who was the other guy before Robert Saleh? I thought there was one other guy, or maybe there wasn't.
It was the Jets.
Either way, I mean, there was zero stability. They were just a complete disaster. So, I mean, obviously, you put him around a competent team and someone who's, probably going to end up in the playoffs or be close to it or whatever. And yeah, I mean, he looks like a competent quarterback. And sometimes that's all you need is just someone not to lose you the game. Kind of, like Trent Dilfer on some of those Ravens team that won the Super Bowl or whatever. He's not a Hall of Fame
quarterback.
Yeah, come on. I just aged myself a lot.
Vinny Testaverde.
Oh my God, Vinny. What about Mark Brunell? Let's see, who else could we throw in there?
I'm not throwing anybody else.
Chris Chandler, Bobby Hebert.
Good Lord. But at the bottom line of it, at this point in time, I don't want the Giants to draft a quarterback first. Go and find a veteran that's out there. And there'll be someone out there. Because I've said it, I would have loved to have had Dak Prescott. Dak's not it.
Yeah, he got his money, so yeah.
Maybe it's Sam Darnold. Maybe he wants to come back on a revenge tour. I'm okay with that. I don't want to get another young quarterback because I feel like a young quarterback sets us back another 3 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, as you know, most of these, especially in that quarterback position, it's kind of like a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, most of them turn into bust and they pan out to be actual legit studs. So, yeah, I'm actually on board with that. I mean, I would love to bring in a veteran and draft a quarterback and have him sit on the bench for a season or two and just watch him and, watch a veteran, develop him or whatever and not put all that pressure. I mean, unfortunately, kind of, as as the, the way the game is structured now and with all the crazy money with quarterbacks or whatever, you have that 5-year window, and if you find your guy, then you're able to pay other people or whatever because obviously, as you all know, the amount of money that's getting thrown around with these quarterbacks is just insane. Like, Jalen Hurts, Tua, and even Dak. I think Dak is a decent quarterback, but you just looking at all these contracts or whatever, and it's like, how does a team lock up that much money in one position and be able to pay everybody else in this system? You
got to get them young. You got to get a young quarterback.
I thought were you having a P. Diddy moment, John? God.
What do you know about P. Diddy?
I don't know.
Nothing's come out about him getting them young, Keith. What do you know?
I don't know. I don't know anything.
What do you know?
I just know about baby oil and God knows whatever else is happening in that bad boy entertainment house.
Keith, what do you know? Because you've hearing about baby oil and he likes them young. This isn't stuff that has come out. So what do you know, Keith? What do you know about?
You
You know
know,
about these bad boy parties, Keith? Do tell.
you know, I'm a bad boy for life, John. Come on.
Do tell, Keith. What do you know about all of that, sir?
I'm about to get hit with a libel.
I'm just trying to find out what you know, because I mean, you're walking around here saying, "Take that, take that, take that." So what
Oh,
do you know? What do
my
you know?
God. I don't know anything, John. I don't.
I mean,
You know, sometimes I just say things and I don't think them all through.
I'm just saying, if you know something, Keith, you got to say something. I mean, this is life or death for some people. I mean,
Hey, now that we're on this briefly, the poly market has a bet out there. Is P Diddy out of or make bail by tomorrow? Yes or no, John?
no,
No, there
no,
ain't no way he's making bail.
no, they are. Yeah, no, I'm not even going down that road. I'm not even going down that topic. Here's a topic that we're going to go down. We're going to shed some good news. Want some good news? Here's some good news. The Colorado Rockies, the San Francisco Giants, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Cincinnati Reds, Miami Marlins, Washington Nationals, Los Angeles Angels, Oakland A's, Chicago White Sox, all eliminated from playoff contention, while the New York Yankees,
Oh yeah.
the New York Yankees have gotten themselves and they've clinched a playoff berth. Here's what I want for Christmas. I'm months away. Here's what I want for Christmas. And I know I'm about to make some people say, oh, he's jealous. Yes, I am. I want the opportunity, much like Boston had, where our basketball team is good, ice hockey team is good, our baseball team is good, our football team is good. Like, I want the opportunity to want that. That was awesome for
we
them.
we haven't had that in quite all of those teams. I mean, so last year we had the Knicks and the Rangers, but yeah, I mean, to have the Giants, Knicks, Rangers, and the Yankees all relevant and doing things, yeah, I mean, that would be something. Yeah, for me, the biggest issue with the Yankees, I think, is just, if there was ever a year where I think they could get I guess you could say, the proverbial monkey off their back, the Houston Astros, I think that this could be the year. I think the Astros are still a solid team, obviously, but I mean, I think this could be the year that we do it. And Lord knows we need to do it because we're, I'm losing count. I mean, we're well into this is not the Aaron Boone experiment anymore. I mean, there isn't a honeymoon period with him anymore. I mean, I never even really wanted him as our manager to begin with, but I mean, it's time for him to win something because, as you and I both know, it's not making the playoffs, it's winning World Series. That's the standard at the Yankees. And if you fail to meet that mark, then you've failed,
It's time for him to go.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't give, think he'll land someplace else. I think he'll land in a smaller market because his resume is impressive. But your resume is impressive by the players that you've been surrounded by.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially this year. I mean, Judge, Soto, and
but you haven't delivered on what the job is. You haven't completed the task. And
no,
it's exactly like you said. I can't give you another opportunity.
No, as far as I'm concerned, I know I believe they gave him another 3 years from, I think it was 3 years from the last year. So I think it's so it'll be another year after this. I mean, honestly, especially with all the, the talent you got around this team now. I mean, Judge, Soto, even Jazz Chisholm is, playing that. I liked his, he had a little, you could tell Jazz Chisholm is having fun, obviously, just because he's played on a bad team most of his career, the Marlins. But, I mean, I heard him when they clinched last night. He's very confident. He's like, we're winning the World Series this year. And I mean, I love to hear that, man. So, I mean, I hope it happens. Again, it's just, concerns for me is just bullpen and some of the pitching or whatever, and to a lesser degree the manager too. So yeah, I mean, if there was ever a year though that I thought we could get past the Astros, I mean, this is probably the year.
It's one of those moments of Chisholm just shows that he shows what the Yankees organization is.
Yeah.
It's not to come there and get a payday. It's to come there and get a championship. That's what it needs to be back to. And that's what we haven't been able to deliver on for a while. And it's time to get back to that point. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to double check myself. Next year's a club option for Boone. So yeah, you got to go, homeboy.
Yeah.
It's time to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm almost positive that you're right about that. So yeah, I kind of think it's kind of, shit or get off the pot for him, man. It's like, you've been there
language. He's angry now. Just dropping, just cussing and.
Come on, John.
I don't even have a dump button to push over here.
We don't need a dump button on a podcast, silly. Come on.
I know you're talking about baby oil and P Diddy.
God.
Next thing you know, you're gonna be singing R. Kelly songs.
Jeez, oh God. I'm sure you've seen the memes. Some of those memes have been they're very interesting, and I'll just leave it at that.
I like how you're trying to drag me into this. I have no knowledge of what you speak of, sir.
You're an upstanding citizen, right?
Yes, sir. I have no knowledge of the situations you speak of, Mr. Ippolito.
Hey, I'll ask you one last question, and then we could get off this. Is 50 Cent releasing another diss track on P. Diddy?
I don't think he needs to.
No, I mean, he really doesn't, but it would really be just for my own amusement.
I don't think he needs to. Like, at this point in time, I think it's one of those scenarios of hope anyone that was harmed in this situation can get the help that they need.
Oh, yeah, that goes without saying.
And can be made whole in some shape, form, or fashion, whatever that looks like for them.
Mm-hmm.
I hope at some point in time, the New York Football Giants make us whole by getting us to the Super Bowl again. I hope that the New York Knicks, I hope they win the World Championship this year. I'm just saying that right here, right now.
Hey, man, so the two teams. All right, so I'll say actually it's three teams that have a realistic shot in the tri-state area of winning a Super Bowl or a championship of their leagues. I would say it's the Jets. Wait,
whoa, what? Who, when, where? What?
I'm saying have a realistic chance. I'm not saying what? They're going to.
To do what?
Get to a Super Bowl before the Giants.
When?
I'm talking about coming into this year. I'm going through the teams that I think have a realistic chance of winning a championship in their sport. I was going to say the Jets, the Yankees, and the Knicks.
No. I can't go with you on that one. No. And here's why I can't go with you on that one.
Okay.
And granted,
actually, what is the score in their game right now? I have not been paying attention to it.
I haven't either, because you've been speaking all sorts of tomfoolishness tonight.
It's 24-3. Are you having a seizure, sir? A seizure, sir?
No, because we know what happened last time. It was 28-3, actually, but we know what happened the last time we saw a score like that.
Yes.
So that's why I said, well, and I know this team, I know this franchise. They have the ability to pull this off themselves as well. I can't go with the Jets have the best opportunity, and here's why I can't do that.
All right.
We saw exactly what happened. Last year was not an omen. There was no Thor didn't come from the sky. There was no Ant-Man out there. We saw exactly what Aaron Rodgers is. Old.
He's old. But I mean, I think even you have to say, like, I mean, just because he's 40 years old, I think he's still playing at a high level. At least, he looked good in the Titans game. Again, I thought he looked good in this first half. I haven't watched any of the second half. here. I mean, I would imagine being up 24-3 that he looked all right. And then their first game, I mean, that was against the 49ers, a really good team. I thought they had a really good opening drive, but yeah, it went all downhill from there.
Aaron Rodgers is the last of the old guard.
Yeah.
And after what happened last season, everybody laughs, jokes. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I think it just shows that here's a guy who's been banged up, dinged up, beat up his NFL career. And this isn't like LeBron James in the NFL. And I mean, in the NBA. And this isn't like LeBron James who's sitting in the cold tub, sitting in the hot tub, sitting in the sauna. This is Aaron Rodgers who went up to the mountains in the Himalayas and went into a cave drinking, what is it?
Ayahuasca
tea.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking anybody's form of medicine. I am not a doctor. But what I'm saying is you did all of that to come back and have something tear. So that means you're not putting in all the proper things. It's already showing. So how am I supposed to feel confident that this guy can not only get me to the playoffs, through the playoffs, and then to a Super Bowl? That's a lot of extra football.
Yeah, of course. You're not wrong with that. I mean, yeah, you're definitely not wrong with that. You know, being 40 years old, I mean, being able to healthy enough and stand through the rigors of an entire NFL season plus the playoffs, that's a lot of football, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, it just wears on you.
If anything, I would say this. No, you said the tri-state area, but I would, if I'm going to include, let me just include Buffalo in that.
Okay.
And I'd put more money on Buffalo than I would the Jets.
All right. Well, I guess by technicality, I guess we have to include the Bills in this conversation then.
Well, I mean, depending on who you talk to, we got to include the Philadelphia Eagles in this conversation.
Yeah, but technically by that, yeah.
I got a question for you. You're a gambling degenerate.
Oh, geez. Oh, God.
As with playoff aspirations of the Knicks and hopefully a championship, according to FanDuel, places them at 5,500 odds to win the NBA championship.
Plus 5,500 to win I like that number. I mean, I would definitely put 50 or $100 on that, or I mean, hell, even $20. I mean, that's a solid payout. Yeah, honestly, I like that, man.
I don't know who, and I'm not much of a gambler. I'm gonna give full disclosure on this one, so I'm not even gonna pretend. And then I see another one that I googled, plus 825 to win the championship, plus 450 to win the conference.
Yeah, honestly, I think winning the conference is definitely, obviously, that's a better realistic game. Obviously, of course, you want to win the championship, but yeah, plus 400. I mean, I think that's a decent number. I mean, I do. And especially based off of what we saw last year. I know it didn't end how we wanted it to, but I mean, we also weren't healthy. You know, we were missing, a bunch of key players or whatever. And yeah, I think when we're all healthy, I think that Pacers series goes a different way. Or the Celtics series, sorry.
I'm on FanDuel right now because now I'm intrigued going down this rabbit hole because I like making money. I don't know how to do it, though. But this isn't a bet I would make. An NBA Finals exact result for the 2024-2025 season. The Knicks beat the Warriors plus 18,000. I wouldn't make that bet because I don't think the Warriors are getting to the East, to the West, to the finals.
No, probably not the Warriors, but I mean, plus 18,000, like that's something that you could put like $5 on, and that would pay out what, like $1,800 or something, or something along those lines, or whatever it would be. I mean, for a $5 bet, I mean, that's just kind of that's just the equivalent of a lotto ticket. If it hits, it hits. If not, it's not a big deal. You're not out a bunch of money,
And that's what I'm looking at, of like, you know what, because I like the one that you said of and I'm okay with that. The one that you said of what is it, 5,500?
Oh yeah, to win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I honestly, if we're fully healthy, I think we can. I mean, obviously, getting through the Celtics again is not going, even at full health, is going to be just a complete battle. But yeah, I think if we have all our players, and I think it's a totally different series. And obviously, I mean, we were missing. What was it? Hartenstein, Brunson, obviously.
Hartenstein's gone now.
Yeah, Hartenstein's gone. Randall was hurt. Yeah. And I not Knicks fans, but I don't, maybe people who don't watch Knicks basketball as much, I don't think they realized how important he was to that team.
Oh, he took some of the pressure off of Jalen Brunson.
Of course.
Because you had to guard him. You had to defend for him.
Yeah.
And that allowed Josh Hart to run around free a little bit more. So I'm excited. I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do. But here's what I know right now, too. Once upon a time, I was very, very, very excited about the New York Giants coming to Atlanta.
Yeah, you and me both.
Not that excited anymore. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna go radio silent that weekend because we're living in enemy territory. Now, granted, that team isn't much better than us, but their odds to win are a lot better than ours.
Oh, well, I mean, come on. Even us being Giants fan, I think that even you would say the Falcons are a better team than us on paper.
Yeah, right now on paper, I could easily say that. So, I was once excited about that. I'm not excited.
Yeah, I mean, you and me too. I mean, I'm probably still gonna go to the game, but I guess at this point, it's really I'm just going for the $5 hot dogs and the drinks, right?
So you're going from where you took a vacation to the south of France on a cruise.
The south of France,
on a private cruise liner. And you flew a private jet to the south of France. A private jet that I remember your text. You said there was a lot of baby oil on there for some odd reason.
Like, oh, here we go again. My God. Yeah, and Can't Nobody Hold Me Down was on repeat for 10 hours.
Like, as we're on this program here, and I'm trying to see the visual. Is that a Sean John hoodie you have on?
No, this is not a Sean John hoodie.
Where the hell did you find
This is from Amazon Prime. A Sean John hoodie.
Is that a Sean John hoodie you have on? Where did you find a Sean John hoodie at? What is going on over there?
I'm pretty sure Sean John's canceled at this point.
How did you find a Sean John sweatsuit? What is going on over there, Ippolito? Goodness gracious, baby.
Oh, God. God help us. There's something wrong with all of us.
All right. So let's go ahead and pull up. Oh, my goodness. Let's pull up the NFL schedule, week of games, and let's make our picks for this week.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's pull it up. All right. Week 3. All right. Who you want to start, John, or you want me to start?
You can start because, like I said, I'm not a betting man, but you can start.
All right. So I kind of like. Let's see.
Now, we're making picks here, so if you have a gambling problem, you should seek help. If not, you should reach out to FanDuel, who hopefully, dear FanDuel, if you'd like to sponsor us, Keith Ippolito is a degenerate gambler. He'd routinely gamble on there. I will place the occasional bet. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'd pick straight games. So we're just going to go straight across.
FanDuel, DraftKings, take your pick. I'll take them all.
Once again, the degenerate as he is, Keith, we're not betting on high school football either now.
I mean, I'm sure somebody does do that. I don't know anybody who does that. I'll let you know if I hear somebody of that.
A likely story. All right, what you got?
Or wait, hey, so can before we start this, are we just doing the with the points or over unders allowed, or what's the parameters of this?
Let's just do head to head right now.
Head to head. All right. So my 3 are going to be Let's see. I think I'll do New Orleans over Philadelphia because they're in New Orleans. New Orleans is playing 91 something points in their first 3. Just playing unreal. I'll do New Orleans. I'll do Vegas over Carolina.
Well, that's an easy one.
Yeah, that's an easy one. I took the layup there. And you know what? should I do another layup too? I'll do Kansas City over the Falcons.
Goodness gracious! Way to stretch yourself there, Ips.
Yeah, I know. All right. You know what? I'll
No,
pick another. No, no.
no. You got your picks in.
All
Because
right.
I'm gonna take another easy layup. I'm gonna take the
Okay.
Seahawks over the Dolphins. Dolphins
Okay.
don't have a quarterback right now. Um,
Yes. Okay. 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 I agree. I agree with you on that. Yeah, he has found a home down there.
and I'm taking the Chargers over the Steelers. I think, unfortunately, Justin Fields takes his first loss this week
Hmm.
because I think that Steelers defense is really good. And I think they're going to put some pressure on him to where he is going to be forced to run around a little bit more than he
Hmm.
probably would like to.
Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. All right. I like those picks. So we'll tally them up for the next week's pod.
Um, but I do like that Saints Eagles pick. That was going to be
Yeah.
my one I was going to take because I think Carr has found a good home. I think that defense is going to put some pressure on him.
Derek Carr. Again, I agree with you on that. Not trying to sound like I agree with you on everything, but yeah, man, he really has found a home in New Orleans, and man, they look like New Orleans is a dangerous team, man. I mean, God, I mean, I don't care who you're playing. If you put up 91 something points in your first two games of the season, I mean,
You're
I mean,
doing
all right,
something.
so. Yeah, Carolina, all right, they're a dumpster fire. But Dallas is they're not a pushover team, so they just didn't just beat Dallas. Like, they put a shellacking on them, man.
So, all right, before we wrap up, what's been your big outside of Daniel Jones and the Giants? What's been
Hmm.
your biggest disappointment or biggest shock this season, positive or negative? Obviously, we know that Carr. We both agree he's been a shock for both of us. But
Hmm.
positive or negative, what's been your biggest shock?
My biggest shock positive, I would say, is just watching the Commanders game, how bad the defensive line was, and how bad and how just wide gaping holes, and the amount of yardage that we gave up to the running back there. I mean, considering going into this season that I thought that was like an area, and I still do, but I mean, it was just so glaring. I do expect guys like Okereke and Thibs and them to figure it out against the Browns, and have a bounce back game, because I heard some. We don't have to get into this too much, but I heard Bobby Okereke say some stuff in post game after the Commanders game, basically saying that he was overcompensating for people that were probably playing out of position or not doing what they were supposed to be doing. So that probably is what maybe led to all those gaping holes, and maybe he was just trying to do too much. So yeah, that was probably just from the Commanders game, something that really stood out to me. What about you, John?
I'm not. I'm going to go a different direction here, and
Okay.
I wasn't going to go Giants because they're a dumpster fire. What do you want me to do about it? Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence has been the biggest shock that he's not playing better for the amount of money that he was given down at Jacksonville and what he had accomplished. I
Yeah.
expected Jacksonville to be much further along than what they are.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's totally Trevor Lawrence or not, but watching him play and the stats he's put up,
Hmm.
I expected Trevor Lawrence and that team to be much better. But it
Yeah.
shows the gaping hole, as you were talking about. It shows the discrepancy in the quarterback play in the NFL right now, where it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Then tier two, you end up with your
You
Jalen
know,
Hurts. You
Hurts,
end up with your
Lamar
Josh Allen,
Jacksons, and
Lamar
Josh. Yeah.
Jacksons. And
Yeah.
then after that, I don't even feel like there is a tier three. I feel like it jumps to tier four where everybody else and down. And that's sad that for the way that the NFL's pay structure is set up now, that you're
Yeah.
paying mediocre quarterbacks like they're stars, and they're not. And that's a problem because then what's going to ultimately happen is the market has to be reset. And the New York Giants, we didn't do ourselves any favors. We didn't help. Because then when you have like the quarterback for the Texans, when it comes time, if he keeps playing the way he plays,
Oh
you're
my
going to
God.
have to pay him like he won a Super Bowl. And nobody's won that yet. And that has to stop.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, of course, I'm always for the players getting their money, but you know, at what point is it just, you know,
Enough's
there's just
enough.
enough's enough, and there's just not enough around to field competitive team, or not competitive, that's the wrong word, but to allocate money to other needs and positions on the team. Because when you have 40, 50, 60 plus $1 million locked up in one position on your team, granted, obviously your quarterback's the most important player on your team, but I mean, how do you, you know, kind of like with the Saquon stuff, you know, because the money that we have allocated I mean, how can you allocate that so much money to all these different players? And I just don't know how you do it. I mean, obviously, I know the salary cap goes up every year, but maybe there needs to be an adjustment on that, and it needs to go up more.
I don't know. I don't have the answer for it. I don't know how to solve that. But what I do know is that inevitably what you're going to have to do, and once again, I'm all for players getting their money. Get your money, do your thing, good for you. But at some point in time, as a fan, you owe me a refund.
Well, yeah, especially, I mean, the amount of money that some of these guys are getting in, and I can't say this. I'm never gonna knock a player for getting their money, but what bothers me the most is the ones who get paid and then they kind of mail it in, and then you see all these fans and all these people spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on, you know, going to games, or not even if you go to the game, you know, all the streaming things that you have to watch games. If you're a fan of your team, like we live in Atlanta, to have Sunday ticket to watch the game, it's like an investment to
Something's got to change because it's not there, and I don't know where it's going to come from. But it's not my problem to solve the problem. But when it becomes my problem that I can't afford to watch the game that I enjoy anymore, then that's their own problem that they got to figure out. Well, here's what you guys got to figure out. Wherever you get your podcasts, like, subscribe, follow, and whatever you do, go tell somebody about it. And never forget, this is the Shared Stadium Podcast. We'll talk Giants. We're going to go down rabbit holes. And Keith is going to slide down those rabbit holes a lot easier with a lot of baby oil on and a John hoodie. But until next time, I'm John Radcliffe and my teammate Keith Ippolito. Here's the bottom line. If you don't like me, go share a cell with P. Diddy.
Oh my God, that was aggressive, John. And on that note, we'll talk to you next week.